Against all odds, God restored Jerusalem, Judea, and Samaria back to the nation of Israel during the War of 1967. Lost to Israel for thousands of years, this region contains the lifeblood and heartbeat of the Jewish people. Yet, the struggle has not been easy. Propaganda, terrorism, and international pressure have been the constant companion of the courageous men and women who have dared to call this place home. I'm Julie Sironi, and these are the stories of Jerusalem, Judea, and Samaria, Israel's biblical heartland. God's land. Yishai, tell us about Hebron today. Why is it so significant?
Hebron's a really ancient town. It's 4,500 years old, and Abraham came here 3,800 years ago. 3,800 years, everybody's got to pause and think about that, okay? 3,800 years, just try to compare that to any place in America that's like 300 years old. So 3,800 years old is a lot. And so Abraham came to this town, and he lived here. He actually lived in that hilltop over there. But this, where we're sitting right now, is where the main story of Hebron took place. But he lived just outside of the others. But he would come here, and he came here, and he actually negotiated for a plot of land that would become the sepulcher of the ancestors, the tombs of the forefathers and mothers. And he buried his beloved wife, Sarah. He eulogizes her, he cries for her. And then he's buried here by his sons, Isaac and Ishmael, the father of the Jews, the father of the Arabs. They come together to bury their shared father. And then Isaac and Rebekah are buried here. And finally, Leah is buried here, Leah. And then Jacob is dying in Egypt. And he asks his children, he says, don't bury me outside of the land of Israel. Don't bury me in Egypt. Take me back to Hebron. Later on, King David is going to rule here because this belongs to the tribe of Judah. From then on, it becomes this important city where it has the forefathers and mothers. And then there's the Herodian structure. That's atop of the tomb of the patriarchs and matriarchs, a massive structure which is extant to this very day the way it was built. You have no other structure like that, maybe in the world. In Judaism, it's second to Jerusalem. Jerusalem is where you meet God. Hebron is where you meet the followers who went in the footsteps of Abraham, who searched and found God. And we are at the forefront of trying to create a different consciousness in Israel, to hold on to this land, to push back on Palestine as an alternative narrative to Israel, to push back on jihadism as something that wants to destroy Israel, and to replace the replacement of Israel with Israel. I think, Julie, that you could attest yourself that when you come here, you're touching something very raw, very biblical. We're sitting here surrounded by these olive trees. They themselves are these ancient olive trees that are just, they have so much to tell us. There's a water source nearby, which is the ancient water source. So you come here and you can really touch it. You can really, really touch it. And it's off the beaten path. You have to demand your tour guide takes you there. But when you do, people come here and they're like, I really touched the Bible. I really touched the story of Abraham. And this is the heartland of the Holy Land.
Hebron is home to the Jewish matriarchs and patriarchs of the Bible. It is also one of 3 cities mentioned in the Bible that have a biblical deed to the land. Sadly, it's still a very contested city to this day. Jerusalem, Judea, and Samaria are not occupied territories. They're not even part of the West Bank. They are biblical heartland of Israel, God's land. If you would like more information about the people and places of Judea and Samaria, please visit www.keepgodsland.com.